All right, back with another project. And if you're familiar with the channel, you've seen this car before. This is my daily little beater, hoopty. Drive to work, just drive around, whatever, save gas, and it's been a great car. But finally to the time where I'm gonna paint this thing. And I kind of like the kind of raggedy look that it has. That's why I haven't painted it up till this point. But it's, you know, we're starting to have some problems with failing prior repairs and some failing OEM paint that's leading to some rust and things like that. So plan on driving this car for several more years, so you know I really want to get that taken care of. So we're gonna fix all those issues and you know, get this thing painted. So I already kind of showed you some of the imperfections on it. There's more. I was just really showing you the main things. First off, I went ahead and washed the whole car with an emulsifier and some Dawn dish detergent. The car's really dirty. That way we can get it clean. That way there is still quite a bit of gloss on the car. So with it being clean and glossy, we can get down at different angles. We'll be able to see all the imperfections in it. Well, most of them anyway. Most of our dents and things like that. And want to get it clean, get all the dirt off of it. That way when we do start body working this thing, we're not just etching sand and dirt and grime into our body work and into our panel and making things worse and making more work on ourselves. So first things first, to make a plan when you're doing a body work, paint. You know, every car doesn't need a $5,000 paint job. Every car doesn't need a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 show car paint job, okay? Some cars might benefit from a Mako paint job. Some might be somewhere in between. What we're doing with this is we're gonna do a good quality daily driver paint job, all right? So what I mean by that, I'm gonna be doing it budget friendly, but we're still gonna be using quality materials. And that way we'll ensure that it's gonna last, and we're gonna do everything to the best of our ability to make sure it's gonna last. Plan on, you know, even though it's a cheap car, I don't wanna put a bunch of work into it, use inferior materials, and in 5 years, the car's gonna look like crap again, and I might have to redo it. So I want something that's gonna last for as long as I plan on driving it, and I want it to look good. And but what I mean by a daily driver paint job, I mean by that is if we get a little bit of dirt, trash, you know, no big deal. We're not painting in a professional booth. Most of that we'll wet sand and buff out, but if the car looks good off the gun, we might not even do that, because I'm not really going for a really sleek show car paint job. I just want something decent. And I also mean by that is if we miss a dent here or there, it's no big deal. If everything isn't perfect, it's no big deal. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time into it. I just want to get a good value quality job for the time that I'm willing to put into it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna kind of show you some of the major defects on it, and then we'll kind of see where we're gonna get started at, okay? This video is gonna span a few videos, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna go into incredible detail on it. I've done that in the past, but we're just gonna give you a good overview and some of the things I'm doing. And hopefully you can learn something. And if you got any questions about anything, of course, as always, just ask me and I'll try to follow up on it. Especially on this, it's gonna be multiple videos or something I missed, you wanna know, let me know, and I might can cover it on the next video. Next, this bumper is jacked. It was like this when I got it. We've already got a new bumper for it. There's this hood right here. Pretty big crease there. It was way worse than this, but it was so bad that where this trim mounted was like somebody karate chopped it. And even the trim was broke. I replaced the trim, and I just beat this out from the inside just enough to get the trim to fit. See, clear coat failure on this fender. A scratch down, pretty deep scratch down there. Got a little gouge there, a few little spots there. This door handle, even though it works, is loose. We'll try and repair it. If not, we'll replace it. All these trim pieces I've already ordered new. These are getting replaced. This piece of weather stripping here, I gotta order that. That's getting replaced. This is another big one here. First off, you can see the bumper doesn't line up right, and sometimes it's even worse than that. It'll kind of pop out, but you can see failure here, and you can see number one is just it didn't look good to start with, obviously, but see a lot of failure. You see bubbling paint here, okay, and I already know why that is, but we will show you that later. See some flaking paint here. This is where I rolled my fenders and the paint flaked. that I wasn't concerned about because I knew it was gonna be replaced anyway. Okay, and you can see whenever they fixed this, they fixed this. All they did was they masked off from the pinstripe up and just painted it down with a hard line there. So trunk's got some minor dings. We're gonna be welding up the holes here where this emblem is. Gotta get my gas door fitting better. Quite a few dings here, like here and here, and it's like the exact same ding over there on the front door. A little ding down there. One of the main things is the complete failure of the coating here on the roof to the point where it's cracked and it is rusting. Okay, so we definitely got to handle that. Okay, it's gonna need some more work. I even one spot cracked the metal, so we're gonna have to weld that up. Other than that, one more thing I noticed is there's a, you probably can't see it where you're at, but there's a, right here, there's a line like a peak, a line that's kind of, I guess whenever this hit and pushed in, it made kind of a crown there. So we're gonna try and knock that down. Oh yeah, it feels a lot better. Okay. So yep, you get the point. I'm gonna continue working this here, trying to get this a little better. And I'm gonna weld one right here, this edge, trying to pull that edge out a little bit. Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep working this, and yeah. So I'm really excited to dig into this spot and see just how bad it is. When I originally seen this damage starting to come through, I already knew what it was. When I pulled the carpet back, it confirmed my suspicions. So you can see all those worms hanging out is filler. And somebody just drilled holes, poured it best they could, and just slapped filler in there. And I mean, it didn't look good to start with, but you know, it was covered up. But the problem with that method is eventually, you know, filler's porous, and you know, with having a, and even though it might be sealed, kind of, you know, pretty well sealed up from this side, now the back side, you can get moisture up through those holes that were drilled between that and the filler. It's gonna wick its way onto the outside, you know, into the panel, to the outside. And once you get rust under your filler or paint or whatever, see it's gonna bubble, crack, and exactly what it's doing right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start grinding into this and just kind of see what it looks like. You know, from what I can tell, my line here is actually pretty close as far as where the bumper bolts up. I gotta get the bumper retainer that bolts here that the bumper clips to was broke, so I ordered one of those. So once that comes in, I can put that on. I can really test fit the bumper. But other than that, some of this inner structure in here behind the bumper was kind of bent up. I got behind it inside the trunk with a 2x4 and a sledgehammer, straighten a lot of that out. There's still going to be some straightening in here. And like I said, we still got to weld these holes up. I'm going to do a light tap on this. While I'm putting pressure, I'm gonna try and tap down this high spot here. All right, so we just put some standard filler on these few spots we got here, and that's cured. So I'm gonna go ahead and start hitting these spots with our small block and 80 grit, just to rough all this in. We'll get that leveled out, and we're gonna come back and we'll put a coat of glaze on that. So that's why I'm just hitting it with 80. Once we put the glaze on, we'll refine it with probably 180. Then we'll be ready for priming those spots. And then at that point, before we put the glaze on, we'll also, we'll prep these areas that just need, just a light coat of glaze, and we'll get those hit as well. And then we'll be pretty well have this side, except for the fender and a couple of spots. Have the side knocked out. Then we can move on to the other side where it get a little more involved with, having to do some welding and stuff. But yeah, adds nothing to it. I just like to just do an X pattern on this, when I'm blocking this mud out, and you'll see what I'm talking about right here. Sometimes the hard part is kind of knowing when to stop. Sometimes if you haven't sanded enough, sometimes it'll like you actually have low spots around it or in the filler. But experience will kind of tell you if you'll look for it to see if it's feathered out around the outside of it well, and then just some experience will tell you whether it's actually low still or if you need to continue sanding. That just comes in practice. That's the process on the small dents. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next ones and kind of get all this knocked out. And then when we start, doing the glaze process, we'll pick you back up. So the spots that we put glaze on, I'm gonna take 80 grit on the block and start kind of shaping them in. And once I get it relatively close, I'm gonna switch to 180 and get the shape dialed in to where I want it. And then hopefully these spots will pretty well be ready for primer. And yeah, it's not uncommon to have to go back and add another coat if you see a pinhole or some little imperfection. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and jump into it and just see what happens. All right, guys, so I just got done stripping the roof and stripping the majority of the hood. Got a few spots I gotta finish on the hood, but I'm just kind of over it at this point. So So this is going to be, I'm going to let this conclude the you know, the first part of this video series as far as painting this car. I mean, I could go on and on. I can make this video 5 hours, but you know, it's getting kind of repetitive. So the next video we're going to be dealing with getting some primer on the car, and might get into depending on how long that spans, I might get into some you know, blocking and prepping for paint. But I'm definitely going to get into primer on the next one. So recap, we're going to look at the car and recap what we've done real quick, and a couple more takeaways I got to keep in mind when you're prepping for primer. So the first thing we've done, of course, is we pulled out any dents we had, got the metal best as we could. So this is just about as good as we're going to leave it for primer. We'll prep these areas a little bigger. I'll probably go 320 around some of these areas that's going to, you know, get a little primer on. But pretty much, you know, I'm not going to prime the whole car, sit in the show car. We're going to spot prime the areas that we need. We'll refine those and then prep the rest of the car, and we'll paint the whole car. Of course, the roof and the hood will be completely primed. I'll probably hit with a self-etch first to treat the metal, and then go right back on top of that with our high build, so we'll have room to block this out for any of the body work that we're going to have to do. When I get the roof, then when I get the hood down to bare metal, plan to spray a guide coat on it. I'll take my block and I'll do a light blocking on it. That's going to show me, I know we got some little small dents here and there. That's going to show me those dents so I can fix those before I prime them. You can prime it before and then body work on top of that. That's up to you, but then you're going to have to come back and reprime. Again, if this is a show car or something like that, I would be planning on doing multiple rounds of priming. On this, it's a daily. I would like to get the bodywork refined as much as possible, so that hopefully when I throw my 3 coats of high build on there, I'll have enough material there to get it leveled out, and I won't need to reprime. Some spots like that 1/4 pound that need a lot of work may have to have another round of primer, and that's fine if they do, but you know, we'll handle that when the time comes, but we're going to try not to do that. As far as the roof and the hood, why those went down to bare metal, you do not have to take something down to bare metal if you're going to paint it or whatever. The reason the spots that went to bare metal is because of material failure. The same with this passenger side fender, material failure. The top coat failed, allowing moisture in, and the metal had started to rust in some spots. You know, not bad rust because we caught it early enough, but just had to be careful that you want to get anything rusty, you want to get that squared away first. Got to get the rust off, or else it's just gonna come right back. And so that's why we did that. So yeah, we body worked this again. A few little dents here. We welded in our holes where our emblem was, and just body worked that. This was a nightmare. I mean, I've done worse, but this we had a lot of holes we had to fill in. This had been previously worked. It was wavy, it was low, it was high, holes all in it, probably like 15 holes I had to weld up, which of course creates heat and distortion. You do the best you can, you still get it, okay? So I done the best I could with that. You know, if I'd done this for somebody else, I probably wouldn't give a warranty on this spot, just because again it had rust there. The holes they drilled, the rust they got in there, I had to drill them bigger, treat the backside. You know, it is what it is. I think it's going to be fine. It's going to hold up for a long time, but if it doesn't, you know, it's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm not going to put a lot of time and effort into this car. Okay, it's just not worth it. Again, a few dents here. We're just going to spot. We're going to prep these a little more. We'll spot prime those. We'll see that in the next video. This fender, again, material failure. It's the aftermarket one that someone painted with cheap material. It failed and it was starting to rust. So finish stripping that as well. You know, we'll pull the headlights and strip this part here, because the hood had a lot of crow's feet and a lot of deep chips that were rusting. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There's a few other little things I'm gonna have to do, but you know, you're getting the point of it. You know, if you got any more questions as far as you know, this particular, how far we've gone in the process, let me know on this, or you can wait till the next one. You know, we might get into it further on the next video. But anyway, Appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned for the next one. We should have this car done with my work schedule and everything. Yeah, in the next month should have this car done. All right, so just be looking out for it. Appreciate you supporting us. Hopefully this helped you out. Let me know any questions, hit me up. We'll see you on the next one.